Ah,
I
now it's
guess.
started. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So there's a file called configuration data stored in a text file. Anyways, we will be doing that. Let me show a quick example of this. We got a virtual machine. It's the same like Classroom, so I'll just log back in. Credentials I haven't changed yet, so I have the same Kali and Kali. Right. So first thing is, let's talk about those stuff. So we just go to cd/etc, and all the configurations are on this directory. We can take any program, any services, and we'll see that configurations right here. Right. We can see there's an adduser.conf file. So can use scat command to read that. Right. And there's a simple text file. We can do pretty much everything. Right. And for this auto syntax highlighting, this is a function into my ZSHRC file. Okay. So if you don't like this, you can actually disable this one from this configuration file. It's a configuration in a text file. We can read everything, right? If you want to search something, we can search like the question mark and do like auto complete. And it shows me. Right. And to exit from Vim, I use Q for quit. Sometimes you might not able to do that, so you can use exclamation mark as a forceful quit or exit. Okay, we don't need that right now. So anyhow, we have to configure a lot of services later on. Some of them we'll do today. So we'll see in much more detailed way how this configuration works and how easy it is to configure file in Linux. If you're using Windows, or if you ever used Windows Server, you might have seen this kind of thing. You have to go through a server role management system or Windows console management system or server administration to configure even a single file. And after that, you have to restart the service. In many cases, you have to restart the Windows itself. Okay. In Linux, you only have to restart the system if you're dealing something with kernel level or anything that touches the kernel. Apart from that, if you're changing any services, you just restart the service and it starts working just fine with the configured or modified changes. Okay, so we don't have to reboot our Linux machine pretty much all the time. It just works. So there are a few components we should be knowing about. Bootloader, this is where we have the simple piece of code that actually boots up our Linux kernel. Okay, so Grub is one of the most common used bootloader for Linux operating systems. In Windows, we are using MBR or Master Boot Record, right? Apple have their own bootloader, and most of the open source distributions uses Grub. Okay. Then we got the OS kernel. Of course, we are taking kernel from kernel.org and then slapping up all the extra programs, themes, skins, UI and UX, other utilities, and creating a new operating system. So doesn't matter what version of Linux I'm using, the kernel is what matters the most. So each Linux operating system have this command built in. So if you just go back to my VM, where is my virtual machine? Okay. So if I just type uname and ame, it shows it's Linux. We'll do uname-a. It will show me the kernel version here. Right. So we are running on Debian based kernel. It's 5.15.15-2. So 5 is the major, minor, revision, and it might be the minor updates or patches, something like that. If you look into the latest kernel, that would be not this. Not exit out from this. Okay. Let's go to kernel.org. to see what is the latest kernel right now. So we are running on 5.16.11. That is a stable version. And we can also see some other in-dev or long-term supports and all those things. So the kernel we are using, it's 5.15. So you can see it here. Right. Then we got daemons. If you're using Windows, I can show you. So I will do Control-Shift-Escape. It's a shortcut to open up Task Manager. Okay. And if you see here, we have few programs running in background. So I got this Alienware Command Center, right? Then we got my browser running in background, and we should be seeing some other stuff as well, like TeamViewer is running, Print Explorer service is running, right? We got Windows Explorer and all those things. So in Windows, this task runs on background and everything comes under app or services or background process. In Linux, we call them daemons. Okay. So anything that runs in the background, we can call them as a daemons. And most of the programs or services we run, for example, our web server. The most common web server used in Linux are Apache, right? So we'll be seeing Apache D, that stands for Apache daemon. And we'll see it's running pretty much all the time in background if we have a web server enabled and active. Then we got OS shell. So this is the operating system shell or command language interpreter. Okay, the most common used shell is bash or bourne again shell. Okay, the first one was .sh. We don't use it anymore. How I can tell what shell we are running right now? Like in Windows, we had like $PS version to see the what PowerShell version we are running. In Linux, because we have multiple shell options, right? I can actually show you. We'll do ls/user bin, and I'll say, hey, anything that's end with .sh, and put a $sign. And ls user bin, and then grep for sh. Put a $sign. So it will take as any files that ends with sh. So we can see we have bash, dash, then we got rsh or restricted shell, rzs or restricted this shell. Then we have fish. We don't have fish, we have gsh. So fish is another common Linux shell. Okay. The most common one you will be seeing either it's getting this all the time. Now let me just move this to our training. What? Okay. Right. So how we can understand what shell we are running? We can do multiple things for that. In last time we talked about echo shell to print out which shell we are running. We can also do echo $0 to see which shell we are running, right? So you have two different options to see what shell you're running. I can also switch to different shell. I can just type sh. It changes to, if you do echo $0, we are running sh. You can also do bash. We do echo 0. And now we are running as bash. So the common one we use is, I'll make a directory call it. Oh, let's make it as a QEH. Okay. So we got that options covered. So common shell we will seeing as a bash or ZSH. Okay. Anything that we take service from a VPS or cloud service provider, the most common shell you will be getting is bash. And this is why bash scripting is a thing. Okay. Also, if you're using CentOS or Red Hat, they are based on Unix kernel. Commands are similar, makes more sense. They have a different package manager. I guess CentOS and Red Hat uses Yum. I'm not sure. Let me check really quick. Yum package manager for Red Hat, yes. Okay. So Debian-based operating systems tends to have a SAP or APT or apt package manager. Okay. Again, we need graphics server. So graphics server allow us to use our desktop environment. Okay. So the desktop environment is basically this theme or the look we are seeing here. Kali Linux does come with multiple options. I guess you can actually select these in desktop environment. I guess I don't have multiple enabled here. I can actually lock it out and verify real quick. So is the switch user account? Give it a second. I have this option. So you go to XFCE session, type my credentials. I just have XFCE for this one. I used to have, okay. So this one is running XFCE. If you just go and Google it, it's a lightweight desktop environment for Linux. All right. So I'm the guy who use GNOME. So it's GNOME. It's the simplest one, looks very good. Okay. I kind of like the way it looks like. Kali Linux supports both. So if you change the desktop environment, you just type Kali Linux, change desktop environment. And it should give you these options or document files. Okay. So you can see you can use KDE, it's another desktop environment, or you can just use install GNOME and just do sudo update alternatives config X session manager, and then select the other one, and it will be good to go. Then we got Windows Manager. Okay. So the common Windows Manager we have in Windows, it's Explorer.exe. In Linux, that is Nautilus. So let's suppose I have to open up my folder on this location. I can use the open command and it opens up. I can also use Nautilus, TILUS, it's not installed. So it's asking, hey, you want to install it? I can say yes, and it will install this one. Let me show you, this is a file manager for Linux. File manager. And we got it from there. So it's a GNOME file manager. I pretty much like this one. It supports all kind of Samba, NFS mounts right on the bat. So you don't have to configure any kind of mounting commands and stuff. Okay, just click and say, hey, I want to mount a ZFS or NFS file system. This one have that option, I guess. Yeah, this one have, but does not show me any devices here. That one will come with a new option. Says, hey, you can do a right click, add a new one. So it's your preferences, which file manager you like or Windows manager you like. Then we got utilities that have the small programs that is built into your operating systems. So this one have utilities built in. Let's just go to settings. There is the button. And we can see these are the utilities that is built in. Okay. So sessions and startup, what you want to do, display user on login, automatically save sessions on logout, right? Application auto start, current sessions, advanced. Let's say launch GNOME service on startup, launch KDE service on startup, manage remote applications, and all those things. So this one allows you to do basic tasks, and also the most famous command in Linux to check out the IP address is ifconfig, right? But ifconfig is a part of net utilities or net util. By default, that is not a part of your Linux desktop environment. You have to install it separately. Ubuntu does not like netutils, so you have to install it. In Kali Linux, this is pre-installed. Most of the Debian have this thing pre-installed. If you don't, you just type sudo apt install netutils netutils. Oh, it's the nettools. And we get it here. By default, Linux have this ipaddr command. You can see these options. And again, you can pipe it through other program called grep to grep only the thing you want, ineg. I'll say, hey, anything grep that is ineg. So we're getting inet and inet6. So you can say grep this ends with inet. Okay, I'll show you that particular one. Okay, and just like, hey, grab this, and then we can do grep -v to not show me inet6. Now we get this thing. So this allows us to chain multiple commands and achieve what we want. Right. So that's a fun thing to do. So in Linux architecture, we have of hardware. We're not going to talk about that. We got the kernel. That is the core component for our operating system. We got shell to interact with our operating system. And then we have system utilities. Okay, this is where we have optional programs that is bundled with your current distribution. Ubuntu have few, Kali Linux have few, all other different operating systems have few features that is pre-installed. The moment you install your operating system, it will be there. Okay, for example, Ubuntu have Firefox and Office that is pre-installed. You don't have to install it. The moment you boot up your Ubuntu, that's there. All right, then we have file system hierarchy. So we got bin, boot, dev, etc, libraries, media, mount, optional, home, various files, user, temp, sys, proc, root, and run. So each have their own descriptions. Right. So /bin contains essential command binaries. So most of the binaries that we use, it will be on user bin. User sbin contains the system administration related task binaries, right? Like add user or something like that. So we can actually do that. So we should do like which bash, we got it on user bin bash. If it's like which add user, that's on user sbin add user. So add user is not a common utility, right? We don't use it all the time. So using this add user utility or program, we can add a new user. So if you try to run it like this way, user sbin add a user, and we get a message say, hey, only root may add a new user, a group to a system. So what we can do is we can do sudo, right? And then we can like do add user. It's on our path, so we don't have to do that. And how I know that's on my path? You can also do echo $path in caps. It will show you all those location. Whenever I will type a command, it will look for. So first, it will look for sbin directory. If the command I typed does not exist here, it will look into user local bin. Not here, look into this, then this directory, this directory, this directory, and then user bins. So this /bin, if we just do ls-l on root, /bin is actually pointing into user bin directory. All right. So it will go and look up there. So it's like sudo add user. right? And we take the username. So let's do classroom. And this asking me, hey, add a new password. We'll do. I just need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the username or the thing, I just type as a classroom. Room number, ignored. Work phone, ignored. Home phone, ignored. Others, ignored. Yes, information is correct. And now if you do users command, sudo users, we got Kali and Kali. If you do cat on /etc, pass wd file, now we get this user account here, classroom. So we can actually log into that account. So just click here, we'll do, hey, log out from this account. The password was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll do classroom. And we logged in. So we just open up a new terminal, make it a little bigger so you can see it. It's like, who am I? Classroom, right? Now if you do sudo -l, if you remember last time when we did that, we said see the permission. And we say, hey, sorry, the user classroom may not run sudo on Kali. So Kali here is my host name. I just added. Hello. My screen is shared, right? It's not.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. So if you try to do like sudo apt update, it won't work because hey, this is user does not in my sudoers file, right? So let's go back to our other user account. And that was Kali. And I did not change the password. So it's still Kali and Kali. And if you just open up the terminal, it is sudo -l. We'll see. Kali. So currently we don't know where the sudo files are. We'll do locate as you do OERs, and we can see the ton of matches. Again, I can just like, hey, locate this. And usually I know the location set from std a to c. And we just do like ls sudo, and we can see this is the file. So if you do sudo vim sudo wars, we should see something like this. Right. So we got some defaults, environment resets, mail, bad password, secure paths. Then we got defaults to use PTY or the TTY terminals. And then we can see currently we have only one user in root, and we got allow members of group sudo to execute any command. So we're having $sign sudo, that is the user group, and Kali is a part of that group that can execute this. Right, I can actually go and add a user here. So I'll just go and add, changing this. This we can see the error message here. It's a read-only file. Even if I try to write something, we will fail. Right. So let's sudo su vim sudoers, and let's make a change. We'll do classroom, and we'll do all is equal to all. And we have to do WQ question mark to override this. Sorry, exclamation mark to override it. And we should be seeing that here. Now, I hate logging out and logging back in. So what I can do is I can just type SU to switch user to classroom. And the password was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we switch to classroom. Right. Now if you do sudo -l, type the credentials, and now we can execute all those things. So sudo apt update, and that's working. Hey, we fixed the issue. So what if I delete that file? And this all means it's allowing us to run every single program. We can actually allow Classroom to execute one program at a time. And it can just execute one thing as a sudo. Right. So we can use hard techniques to do. All right. So if you want me to showcase, I can show you this one real quick. So currently it says all. Let me just close it up. Shall we do one thing? Which program we should change? So we'll do ls/user has been, and let's do let's use user add command. Okay, so we know user add command on which location. So we'll do exit out. So we'll do Control D to log out, and a sudo su. If you're not mentioning any username, it jumps to root. Then we not go and edit that file, etc sudo ers. Right, this is the line we have to edit. Someone delete this line first. Then I'm gonna add this line. So let's make a comment. We'll say this user can only run add user command. Okay, looks good. So the first thing is the username. So it's going to be classroom. Okay, then I say all, and then we'll do is equal to, and say, hey, no password. So it doesn't require any password anymore. wd colon and the program path. I did not copy that, so let's copy the path. So we'll do ls/user has been add user, and this is the path we would like to execute. Right. So now we should be able to do this. So in this command, everything makes sense, right? Anything that you would like to ask?
Nothing from my end, Animesh.
Okay.
Sarana,
Okay.
Viren?
Okay. So let's do that, and I'm gonna just go and make it as a root. I'll do no password. User bin as user. We'll save this file, and we have to do wq!mark because this is a sensitive file. We should not be messing around. And then we can do su classroom. We'll do sudo -l. Now we can see, hey, I can just execute no pass wd without password, this one. So we do like sudo user has been add user, and it's working. If you just do /user has been add user, and it's still working. And we get this error message, hey, only root may add the software user. But now we use with sudo, it works. If you do sudo apt update, type my credentials, and we cannot do that. So we can add multiple lines or one line to say, hey, this user can only execute this set or this specific program, nothing else. Right. And we just confirm the theory. So let's exit out, sudo, not sudo, vim at the sudo ers. And I'm just gonna go and delete this line. I'll just have it like in comment. So I'm typing WQ discrimination. So it's write quit with force, or forcefully exit. So we don't have to do anything extra over there. All right. So next thing, we have the boot directory devices, where we have all of the devices connected. So you can actually do fdisk-l to list all the file lists. And you can see. So dev is the location where you're mounting things. SDA is the first physical device. And this 1, 2, 3 is the logical partition. Okay. So this is saying device 1 or physical device 1, logical partition first is having the boot configuration. The block size or block number starts from this, and here the sectors has been used. The size for this, ID, and the type is Linux. Then we got SDA2, that is extended file system, and SDA5 that is used for Linux swap, or basically virtual memory for Linux. In Windows, we have page file. We can also do LH. I guess -h shows up the human readable format. I don't know how to do it into human readable format. There is an option for that, I guess. Oh, list details. Yeah. Okay. So other thing you can do is read that df-h file. It shows you that as well. Okay. Then we got etc, where we'll have all the configurations. Then we got home directory for all user accounts. So currently we have a new user account called classroom. That will be a part of /home/classroom for the home directory. We can just do this ls-home to verify this. We do have that. Then we got libraries that contains the standard libraries for programs that required. In Windows, we have DLL files. Linux, we have library files. It includes that C, C#, IN utilities that require some separate libraries. For example, OpenSSL is one of them. Then we got /media for external mobile devices. We got mount point. We can mount anything or any shared drive directly. We got optionals. We got root for root user. Right. Then we got ASPANE for system administration task. We got temp directory. Right. We got user directory or USR. And then got various or variable directories, where are pretty much all the variable data files. Okay. The shell itself have multiple functionalities. This is going to walk you through with that. So prompt descriptions. This is the default ones you have: username, @hostname, and then current working directory. You can change it and play along with that. Okay. There are a few commands that you can use. So env should print out the variables. Okay, then we got ls commands. So it's gonna list all the block devices, USB, PCI, CPU, and all those things. All right. SU for switch user, user add, user delete to delete the user accounts, user mode to modify user account, add group, delete group. And dpkg is a package manager or package installer. So in Windows, we can just double click on an exe file, and Windows installer start installing the packages. In Linux, for .deb package, we have dpkg, because it's daemon-based package manager or installer. In Red Hat, we have yum that does the same thing. So yeah, we got apt for high-level package management command line utility, aptitude, that's alternative for apt. Okay, we got snap, that's a common with Ubuntu operating systems. Then we have gem for Ruby, pip for Python, git for Git, We got systemctl for system MD management. We got PS to get the process list. Journalctl for system D or system MD general. We got kill command to send a signal to kill a process. We can do pkill, and there is other things we can do. We got jobs, foreground, code, duplicate. We already have used this command to start a web server. Right. Tree, list a content of a directory recursively. Then we got update DB. We use that one. Right. There's some other commands that you can use and play around with it. Okay. So grep, we use that. Head and tail we did not use so far. So head prints out first 10 lines by default, and tail prints out last 10 lines by default of any files. You can change that lines. For example, if I do this, let me just do that. So we have how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I do like, hey, run this command, and I just want to see first 3 lines, I'll do head dash and 3. It's just going to print first 3 lines. We can also do tail dash and 3, print out last 3 lines. Okay. So these 2 commands are useful for data streaming or looking for the logs, finding out an error message, debugging any programs, right? And that makes more sense on this kind of situations. You can also do this. So let me just show you a quick example of it. Let's go to my desktop. And it's just broken terminal. So cd desktop qeh. Right. I'll just make a new file. Make it as a db stream.log. I'm just going to type 1, 2, 3. And then we'll save this file. We're going to do vertical blocks. And we'll do tel-f on desktop qeh on db stream. Now we start modifying this file. Right, so that's db stream. Let's use one more line. We'll do 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, 5 line, 6 line. We'll do right. And if you just go back and run this one more time, we see all those things come back. Okay. So data stream tail command help us to see into those things immediately and look for the last 10 lines or 5 lines, whatever lines we have. There are a few references if you're into those kind of things for cheat sheets. Right. So these networking commands are built in your Kali Linux. All of them will work out of the box. So this netstat list all the listening ports should work without a problem. And it works. Currently, nothing is listening, so we get this. We got nothing. Do like sudo service SSH start. So SSH is secure shell. If you run this, now we can see this service is running, and we get the ports. Right. So again, we can add our file permissions. So we can do chmod 777 that assign full read write execute. So the main question is why we have 7. So this is a consist of 3 things: 4, 3, 4, 2, 1, I guess. Right. We can actually do that. So Linux file permission. And we can actually go to Linux Foundation. And this one will have that options for us. So read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. So if you want all three, we just do 4 to 1, that is 7. If you just want read and write, we'll do 6. Even write and execute, we'll do 3. We write read and execute, we'll do 5. So the classic 755 comes from this, right? So we do, hey, 7 is read and execute for the owner. For the group, they can read and execute. Public can read and execute. Okay. We can also change the file ownership by using chown command or change ownership command. Okay, we can also change the groups as well. And we can do it recursively using capital R flag. Then user managements, we have this option. So user add, right? Delete a user account. Then we can modify user for a groups, right? And we'll do last command to see that last login user informations and all those things. So if I do last, it's a utility built in your Linux. It will show you all the last logged in users. Right, so we can see Kali, then we got classroom, that is today's. So this is the starts. So December 19th, it's system reboots, we got Kali, entity Y7. And then we can see today's, we still logged in, but this user has logged in today. Time zone is a little bit different. It's still 11:57 p.m. So that's there, but you can see all this information. Linux have these things built in, so you don't have to do that. We also do PS tree to list process in a tree-like diagram and shows up like this. It's an easy way to figure out which parent have what process and what process or sub-process have their own child process. Right? It's a nice map to have. Okay. Most of the time when we do any kind of engagements, we always try to run PS tree to see all the process list to understand if you're having a malicious or suspicious process, who is the parent for that process. And this one helps us to trace that process immediately. There's some other commands that we can use and work with, but that makes more sense to me. Also, PSEF also supports tree command. So we can list all those things and then parse it through tree command. I guess tree is built in as well. So just do tree. That's not, we have to install it. So tree command does the same thing and show you the information. For disk management, there's the commands, and package management, you have this list of commands. Right. So I'm gonna copy this one without this vbounce model. And then just gonna put it on our notes. So make a new page, we're gonna call them as a ref or links for Linux cheat sheet. That's there. All right. So far so good. Any questions?
No, Nimesh.
right.
Practice. So how
Okay.
the question is like how things need to be get remembered, or else. So for example, let me say one thing like this. So we are basically into a kind of a structured environment. So we have already having the list of items. We will be keep on doing it regularly. So
Yes.
most of the things are not what to say like incorporated these things and all.
Yes,
So
yes.
how we can just keep on practicing this maybe on the future trainings. Now you can just help us with those things also.
Yes.
How we will keep on practicing this. So because that is very important for us, because what to say going down that particular path is really needed.
Okay, so what happened is when you start working on information security domain, right? So the basic, let me just walk you through. I don't have that screenshot with me. Let me just check it out. If I have it, I can actually show you that.
For sure.
Oh, I have that one. This is just one screenshot. So this is my home lab setup. Okay. So you can see it has a few graphs here, like OS security, then we got Windows security, PowerShell, Windows custom. So Windows custom is what I created. Okay. Now how I understand these things. So first thing is when you start doing anything, let's suppose you're learning Linux right now. Okay. So how you can remember all the commands, like how anyone can remember those things. This comes from practice, right? So Windows or Microsoft did a very great job, including Linux in their built-in operating system. So you can install WSA or WSL for Windows Subsystem for Linux. And this one allows you to do your task and actually connects to my host machine. So just go to like CD desktop, and then we have training ones, right? Now I can just use this file to read stuff or Linux to do that. Now the main benefit of having these things is I can cat any files and grep for HTTP. Sorry, I did not cat the file. And I get this link. So basically practicing this kind of things locally makes more sense. And when you start, hooked up with Linux, it makes more sense to use it. The reason I like people to use Linux a lot, because malicious actors or any recent APT groups, they start abusing command and utilities a lot, right? I have more than 20 samples that proves that theory, and I'll show you a quick example. So Integer is one of the website. I type it wrong. I still type it wrong. Let's do the malware. Integer. That was my mistake. Okay, so I just quickly click on the login, or you can sign up for a free account. Okay, doesn't matter. So this one will show you all those samples. Let me just show you my samples real quick. Just go to Chrome, new window. Okay, log in. Now I have logged in, and I can see the recent trending analysis that is done. So we got document file, exe files, stubbed. This is going to be async rat. So it's the latest one. And most of these things is just a document file or something like that, right? For example, this document file. Let's open this one up. This one will drop a PowerShell and then continue from there. Okay, and they're getting all the access from there. So if I'm not using command line, or they're not understanding how process tree is working, that would be a little bit tricky to jump into the different things, right? So the main idea behind this kind of trainings are, see, everyone can learn anything if they want to. Main focus is why they should learn, like what is their profit. If you understand how command line works, for example, if I have a backdoor session enabled on my system, right? As a SOC analyst, your job will be finding any suspicious process, like how the system is infected, like what happened. So, like what was the point of entry? It was email, or user clicked on some links, they installed something, or they visited any web pages, and the connections, where this connection is connected, and all the kind of things. So that doesn't make any sense if we don't understand how things are gonna go, right? So I'm gonna create a simple bash script just to showcase how easy it is to get the IP informations, parse it through, and gain those information very quickly and very easily, right? So once you're hooked up with those kind of basic bash scripting that makes your life easier, you will Like I don't have to tell you, hey, go and learn this. You by yourself will go and start learning those things. Like, hey, this makes more sense. I don't have to parse everything manually. I can write a simple automation. And bash scripting is simplest one possible by any human being. Right? It's like simple functions, simple calls. Even if you don't want to do that, you can write a command line by line and you can parse through that. So that would be, it's totally up to you. If you want to learn something new and you want to automate it, integrate with your works or your life, that will be much more easier. Linux is very easy to learn and very easy to forget. You learn something today, you're not using it for weeks or months. The next time you have no idea what you have learned. Right? You have to Google around. So that's the thing.
Got it. I understand.
Okay. So always just try to get something, make sense out of it. Like, hey, how I can automate, or how I can make something out of it. Like, I can just run one command and my job will be done. Right? That should be the first focus. You don't have to be working hard. So yeah, like I automate half of my work just for fun.
Got it.
Right. The reason being, the more automation you do, the more you will learn new things.
Okay.
Right. And the more you're learning, the more experience you'll gain for different environment and departments.
Okay.
So it's up to you. If you want to learn something new, that's the good to start.
Right.
Put it on your own work role. Like, hey, I have to do this work pretty much every single day. What I can do to automate it. Right. So
Got it.
that would be a fun thing to see.
No, yeah, that's agree. I agree to it because I just
Yes.
wanted to.
Yeah. So, like, I have a recent work. Let me just show you.
Okay.
And let's go to my Twitter. That should be somewhere here. Yeah, this is the one. So I had to do malware analysis pretty much all the day. So first part of malware analysis is collect the log.
Okay.
Right. So I had to start a virtual machine, execute the sample, get the SQL files and the log files and the network files. Like, why do it manually? I can just write a simple automation that will spin up a virtual machine for me.
Okay.
With all the configurations done. And it takes 2 seconds. Like, I can put like 100 samples over there and I can go movies, do my work. It will be happening all the time on my system. I don't have to do anything extra.
Right.
You can see I started in the virtual machines, executing the samples. I'm getting my logs. And it's done. Right. So it runs for 6 minutes due to our internal policies. We execute malware for 6 minutes. Right. And once that is done, we get the log on our host machine.
Okay.
And it's going to close the VM and start the new virtual machines again. So it took me 3 days to write the script, but it totally worth it. I don't have to work anymore for the log collection part. That's automatic.
Correct. No, agreed. Correct.
So again, I had to spend like weeks and months to research what kind of logs I have to collect to make my work, more optimized. So this is where most of the research goes. Rest of things are just fun.
Got it.
So that's the main whole idea behind this domains are you have to be proactive in learning new things. Right? Because learning is fun, but it's only fun if you are interested in. Or else it's just a boring thing to go through.
No, agree to it.
Okay, so let's talk about this. In Linux, we have one more thing to go through, then we can jump into the other one.
Sure.
Where is my Linux machine? VM. My VM is gone, kind of. Brave. Yeah, I have it here. And my VM is here. All right. So we talked about package managers and all kind of stuff, right? We have this previous stream. We don't need that. So delete this one. Now we have nothing here. Now, what could go wrong when we work with a Linux operating system? Most of the programs we have is either open source or available for free, right? I can go ahead and download it from internet, or I can use apt package manager. Now, apt package manager relies on this file. So just go to cd etc apt, and we should be having this sources.list. Okay, so currently you can see I just have one package manager location here. The other ones is inside into sources.list.d, and we got this Sublime one here, right? So if I type apt list Sublime, and we can see it's just gonna pull up from this package manager. Okay. Now, what is the problem with this kind of things? If the user have no idea about these files, the most concerning things are anyone can add these kind of package RAPO servers to their source files and then ask user, hey, go ahead and install the program. Just type apt install this, and people will do that. And the moment you're running those commands, and basically apt runs as a sudo, and if that is a malicious package, your system will be compromised immediately. Okay. Linux is open source. That means you don't have, like, usually people don't use antivirus on Linux machines, right?
Correct.
So without antivirus, without any kind of signatures, it's very hard to track what is happening. We do have EDR solutions, antivirus, as well as file integrity monitoring for Linux as well. The most reliable ways or easy way to do that is using YARA rules, right? Many organizations uses antivirus or enterprise ADR solutions where the YARA integrations built in. So you can write a rule, push it to your firewalls or your ADR solutions. It will scan the system and tells you what system is compromised or what was the malicious application. As you're already using Alien Vault does support that thing. So we just go to OTX. I'm not going to use this one for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up a new Google Chrome. And we don't need this, we don't need this. We'll go to OTX. And OTX should land us to this page. And currently, I do not have anything here. Let it be load up real quick. I already logged in, so it's there. And go to scan endpoints. And you can see I have few histories here. So I have used this YARA rule to scan my systems, and I got 0 results found. All right. So I can actually execute any endpoint systems by YARA rule, selecting this, select the platforms, and then copying this command, pasting in my system, and then run any scans that I want. Okay. So for example, if you don't have any commercial tool that supports YARA rules, you can use Alien Vault and do it on that way. I do have a new, actually I created ransomware YARA rules here, IOCs for that. matters. So I can just go to this and just go, hey, I want this IOC file. Give me that. Oh, we have YARA detections. Someone added it here. And we should be able to see that. There's a YARA rules that says is ELF file. That doesn't make any sense. The alert I had is in lookup communications. Right. So we are saying, hey, if you're communicating this IP address, let me know. This IP address should not be on my network because this is connected through some C2 servers that is known for spreading ransomwares. And also I have integrated VirusTotal so I can see that as well. Right. It's an ELF file. So it's a Linux executable files. Okay. And you can see most antivirus does detect it's a malicious, but we don't
Right.
use antivirus. So our systems have no idea what is happening.
Correct.
Right. And that's not a good thing. So yeah, we have to look into that part as well. All right. So this kind of information makes more sense if we understand everything. If nothing, so it will be a little bit dangerous to go through, but it's fun to play around, right? So the next common part is the networking, right? And networking is important for multiple reasons. First, reliability, availability, and third, most of the remote targeted attacks have some sort of network connectivity all the time, right? So there is one term, I think it's called UEBA. Don't use that. I'm going to use this one. UEBA. Yeah, you can go to FireEye. Right. So this is user and entity behavior analysis. Right. So basically what we do is we verify the user's behavior. Right. Same thing we can do with the networking. Correct. So in organizations, what is the common traffic looks like? How we can identify that? Like what we can do to identify that thing? Any idea? Anyone?
Can you come again with the question one more time?
My question is, in an organization, you have 20, 30 computers, right?
Correct.
I cannot go and sit all machines to go through Chrome history and get the domain names where they're connecting and all those things.
Correct. Correct.
So from where I can collect these informations, like what are the common traffics or common websites or widget through my organization?
Firewall.
Firewall, yeah. But firewall also logs these activities, but the most common one we use is DNS.
Okay. You're coming.
So we
DNS. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can take the DNS queries, or we can host local DNS on inside our premises. Okay. So that works as a like local DNS server, useful for development environment, and also useful for creating a recursive records. So it looks like it's fast. And it also allows us to enumerate what kind of websites our user using. Firewall can detect the same thing. And then based on our policy, they can allow or reject the request.
Correct.
That's a separate story. Now, first, we have to understand in networking hardware, there are a few devices that we usually use for communications, right? The first one from the systems, it goes to switch. Right now, switch have like L2, L3 switches are there.
Correct.
So it's allow our system to connect together. And then we got our router that actually allows to communicate through the multiple networks. Between different networks, right? For protections, we have firewalls, right? We call them as a log plus policy based policy-based actions. It's going to be the firewall, right? So based on policy, it will allow or reject. We got NIDS or network intrusion detection system, and then we got NIS. NIS, it's not important anymore. So NIDS help us to detect bad firewalls, allow us on physical layers or even in logical layers of what we can, the software levels, we can modify the policies and play along with the firewalls. Now, next thing we got is next-gen firewalls, right? That can do edge computing. So it can process pretty much a large set of data in very quickly. And based on the behavior, they can analyze this is not looking at common traffic. They can block it or flag it as a suspicious. So you can go and look into that. They can also pull up blocklisted IP addresses, suspicious IP addresses from their servers, and then match it through your internal networks. So it's a good thing to go through, right? Now the communication, how communication happens. So in networking, what we use for communication. So there's only one protocol that we use for communication is IP, right? Like internet protocol. So internet protocol allows us to communicate from one system to other system. All right. Then we have a version of IP addresses. So currently in production, we are using IP version 4 and IP version 6. Like depending on which where you're working, it will be one of these or both. Right. So in my lab, I have both. So if I just do like IP config, I'll see I am on 1.6 and also IP version 6 address. Okay. So both IP addresses, I guess I don't have to go through in details, the classes and all. I guess you have know that. We can skip that part, right?
Yes.
Okay. So version of IP addresses, we got these, IP version 4, IP version 6. Now the next thing we're gonna look into the communication channels. Communication types actually. So there's a two ways of communication. One is TCP, that is classful communication channel. Okay, or it's feedback-based channel, right? And then we got UDP, that is transference communication channel. I made some mistakes. I'm just going to do that. Okay. So TCP allows us to do three-way handshake before we start the communication. UDP just send the data, wait for the response. Response comes okay, or certain timeout, it will just send a timeout message. Okay. So depending on what kind of data transmission we are doing, we will be selecting one of these, right? So then we have the physical communication devices. So we got not physical communication devices, what we got? Endpoints. So we got Ethernet and we got Wi-Fi. Right. So we can have either Ethernet connections or we can have wireless connections. So currently what connection we are connected through? I am through wireless. You guys are connected through wireless as well, or maybe Ethernet. Right. So let's have this. And then we got version of IPs, and then we got the ports. Acts as service and points slash right. So anytime when we connect through something, we will be having a port number, right? And after that, we have protocols. So we're going to have it on a separate ways. Protocols. So who defines the protocols? Any idea? Anyone? So protocols are mostly defined by IETF. So most of the protocols. Okay. So you can actually go to this website, ietf.org. It's Internet Engineering Task Force, and you will see the papers here. I'll search for RFC or request for comments. Right. They have website dedicated to it, just like RFC, and then just do 798, and shows you that paper, tools.ietf.html. And then you can just look for all the things there. Right. So all those protocols that we use, HTTP or HTTPS, everything is here. Okay. This one defines the protocols, how that particular service or the particular application will work. Right. From communication 1 to communication 0, everything is defined. Right. Even for the IP, if you just like IP RFC, you'll get that paper. 1180. The older paper is very old ones. We can see it was published on January 1991, and this one have this TCP IP overflow, Ethernet, ARP communications, and then we got Internet protocols or IP in page 12. And here we can see it. The IP modules is central to Internet technology, an essence of IP routing, route tables. Okay. So IP uses this in memory tables to make all decisions about routing and IP packets. Right, the content of the route tables is defined by the network administrator, mystics, blocks, communications. Then we have direct routing. So you have one-to-one connections. Then you got indirect routing, where we have multiple nodes to jump through to connect through a service or a end node. Okay, so how we can verify how our communication is happening? Windows does have this utility called traceRT. I guess TRACE. Or traceRT. Yep, the traceRT is there. And we can take, like, for example, google.com and say, hey, force it to just go through IP version 4. We are using IP version 6 right now. So we can see it's pinging my home router gateway. It done in 1 milliseconds. It pings my server router, then pinging other nodes, right? And everything is in milliseconds for now. I will give it a second to complete. So we got 9, 10, 11, 12 hopes before I get to google.com, right? So between my computer to google.com's server, there is a 12 routers or routing devices that we connect through and route it through. Right, I can actually use traceRT-4 to do it on IP version 4 address, or force it to do IP version 4, and we'll see it. So again, it's pinging my home router first, my ISP router, and these are the Airtel's internal routing tables. All right, so let's wait a few seconds to go ahead and complete this one. So in IP version 6, we took 12 hops. We'll see how many we are taking on IP version 4. It's still going. Is it finished? Yep, it is finished. Now we can see we got 8 hops or network routing tables or network route to go through. So we got this pinging out our ISP router, some internal routing tables or something like that. And then we went to this MAA03S45. That is this IP address. So just to be sure, this is the google.com, then copy paste this IP address, and Google have PTR record configured. So we just go to google.com. If we try to paste this IP address, you'll see what happens. Either I'll get a block or something like that, or nothing will happen. We get nothing information, 0. Nothing is happening. I can actually Google this IP address, and we can see ipinfo.io have this IP address, and that is again from google.com, but mostly it might be a router, so that's why we are not able to see any web page. So the web browser tries 3 different protocols by default. I guess does 2 now, HTTP and HTTPS. It's not able to find these 2 protocols on port 80 and port 443. It does not show us anything. Okay. So if you're using a HTTP website, your browsers are smart enough to go through and follow the redirect and open HTTPS. And if that's running on HTTPS and trying on HTTP, it will give you a bad request like, hey, this is not on HTTP. You can try HTTPS and then connect through the service. So your browser can understand these things and print out, but by default, they just use port 80 and 443 for understanding. Okay, so in protocols, the most commonly used protocols, can you name few? So we can continue with those real quick. Any protocols comes to your mind that we use in our day-to-day life?
ICMP.
Protocols, we got ICMP. Anything else?
HTTP, HTTPS.
HTTP, HTTPS, then we got DNS, right? For email services, we use SMTP, SMTPS, we got POP or POP3, then we got IMAP, right? For remote management, we got SSH, RDP, we got Telnet, right? We got FTP, we got WMI for Windows management, and I don't know what I stands for, but it's there. Any of the protocols that I'm missing? Oh, these are the common ones, right? We have seen day-to-day life. Which one?
FTP.
We have FTP here.
Sorry.
So FTP have like VSFTP, that is very secure FTP, something like that. Okay, so
SFTP, yes.
yes. So we have these many protocols that we use our day-to-day life. Now, just to analyze what we do, we can actually log in back to our Linux machine. Okay. And because this is the isolated machine, if you do a quick understanding on this, we'll see 0 connections are connected to these machines. So what I'm going to do is I'll start a service called Wireshark, or a program. Okay. So Wireshark is pre-installed in your Kali Linux. You don't have to do this. We will be seeing the same interface. You might have different interface name here, but ETH0 should be on the top. So you can either select ETH0 or any. I'm going to select ETH0, that is Ethernet 0 for Kali Linux. It shows my IP address. I'm going to double click on this, and now we see a black page. Now, the default configuration is not like this. So what I did is I went to my edit options, went to the preferences, and I guess this is the default ones because I reset this machine. So this is the default one you can see, right? I got NTP traffic or network time protocol. Oh yeah, we did not write that. So NTP allow us to, we can see this is the arrow keys. So one arrow key is sending request and one arrow key is receiving the updates. Right, and it's doing one more time, sending it to 178.17.160.12. We got some ARP requests, or we can see it here. So it's saying, hey, VMware asking, hey, who has this IP address, 216.2? And my VMware respond back, this one is on this MAC address. Then we got some SSDP packets or simple service discovery protocol, right? So SMTP client sending up the request. We can see the request here. I don't need the hex editor right now, so I'll minimize it. Right. So reference timestamp, right, origin timestamp, receive timestamp, and we can see the servers responding back with the time. And we also get the client and the server. So you always see the timestamps is going on Jan 1, 1970. Everything is 0 UTC, and the response comes back with a current time on UTC. Right. So reference time is always going to be Jan 1, 1970. The reason being, Linus thought that is a good time, so we are stuck with that. So this is the basic traffic. You can see it's repeating itself again and again. Now, what if you open up a website? So let's go ahead, open up a website. I'm going to do a start a new session. And I have no idea what happened just right here. I'll fix that later on. Let's open google.com. Oh, I searched Google on Google. That's very neat. Then also I'm going to open up other website. And you'll see this one is having this padlock not connected. It says, hey, website is not secure. So after this website, I'm going to put a question mark and we'll do passwd or password is equal to 1, 2, 3. Right. So we sent a request in Google. If I search for Google, right? So we used 2 different websites to do basic search. Now we can stop the traffic. Right. And now we have how many packets? 2,976. And I'm not going to search it manually. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to this filter page. I'll say, hey, search for HTTP traffics. Now it lists all the HTTP traffic. Now this is something called OCSP. So OCSP stands for Online Certificate Status Protocol. So each website which have a certificate, our browser will go and verify that certificate, right? So this is the request, this is the response. The request sends up the certificate hash or signature, and the response, request send this request here. Here the hash, an issuer key hash, and serial number hash. The response will be having this signature. If that signature matches to us, we'll say, hey, this certificate is valid today, and we move to complete the process. We got HTTP traffic here, or hypertext transfer protocol. That is on my VM. We see other HTTP header flags, and we get a response on our request is this web page. So if we minimize our this, and we can see this was the request response page. Then again, we send a GET request on password 123. We can read it in plain text, right? We can also do like, hey, HTTP and not OCSP. It's delete that and show me just HTTP traffic here in a filter. If you try on HTTPS, we get nothing. But if you do TLS, it will show me all the packets that is encrypted, right? And because we connected multiple times, we will be seeing multiple clients hello here. Okay, let's see. These are the encrypted data. We can see the data, but it's just a network blob. That makes zero sense to us. Where is client hello? Do we have this one? So I'm making a client hello here to 23, 45, 150, 160. Right? We're sending a random string. The cipher suite our browser supports. So there's 18s that we support by default. Then extensions and all this information. The server returns with the hello saying, hey, we are ready to connect on the handshake. So this is a server random string that we are getting. We got the cipher session ID here. The cipher we are going to use is TLS AES 250 GCM SHA-384. So this is what we're going to use for encryptions in future. Now, if you know about AES, that is Advanced Encryption Standard, and that is a symmetric encryption. So that means we require a key to encrypt and decrypt data, and that key will be the same, right? So basically what is happening with TLS is we are going to exchange our first initial keys on a public key infrastructure cryptographic algorithm, and what we can do is exchange our keys on a encrypted channel, and the later communication will be happening on that symmetric encryptions. So it will be much more faster and usable. Asymmetric encryption, where we use public keys and private keys, it takes a lot of computing to process each and every packets. And by given the way we use internet, our systems might not be able to keep it up. So that's why we do the initial exchange of our symmetric keys and then start using that key to encryption and decryption. Okay, and after that, we can see all of the things change to application data. Okay, then we got the certificate and hello is done here. So these are where the key exchange is happening. And here we get the certificate, server key exchange, and server hello is done. And we'll be seeing the key informations right here. Let's here, certificate. And we can see. So this is the star.izooto.com. I don't know what that is. but this is what this is. You can also like TLS dot handshake dot certificate. And it'll just show me all the certificates here. Right. And we can see this is from Mozilla. This one is from the website. And this one is from Mozilla as well. Right. So we can see all the traffics using a Wireshark and start analyzing what we are doing. Now we have a file on that server. Let me start this one more time. If I go back to my Firefox, right, VM. If you remember last time I uploaded a file, right, key.txt. Like you can read this file here. And I also have another file. It's called bin.exe. And we can download this file. All right. So we did some communication on a plain text protocol or unencrypted channel. So that means this information we should be able to see on this packet. So are you positive? Like we can read those text file on this packet? Because end of the day, this is just a 0 1s, right? So we should be able to read this information. So can we read that VM keys using these packets? What are you guys thinking? Can we do that? Anyone? Hello?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Can you come again, please?
Yeah, we just visited our website, right? Where we have that text file, VM key.
Mhm.
And while we are seeing that file, we had this network capture running in background.
Okay.
So do you think, can we read the same file on this network file, like this packet files? Like,
Yes,
can
sir.
we see and read that text file here using these packets?
Yep.
It's a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay,
Good.
so yeah. And we also downloaded a file, .exe file. So can we extract that exe file from these packets?
Think so. Yes.
Okay, how we can do that?
Searching that.
Yes. If I do like bin.exe, I don't see. We can search it here. Or key.txt. We can't do either. The reason being, network does not send packets on that way, but we can actually read that thing by just clicking on this get key file. Right. And this is a response. And we should be able to see the line-based protocol and key is here. Same thing, this get bin.exe, we have it here and we get the file, but I cannot download the file. But Wireshark have one more trick. So what we can do is we can click on file and then we go to export objects and we use HTTP. So go to HTTP and then we can search what we want. We want key.txt. Yeah, sure. Save this file. So we'll go to our desktop, QEH, and call them as network dump. And then we're gonna just move this file, bin.txt. Here it is. Save this file. Desktop, QEH, network dump, paste it there. And the request response, we really don't care. So we're gonna ignore that. Now, if you just go to my desktop, QEH network dump, open this location, we should be able to see this key. Just like this. And also that exe file. I cannot execute though. So what we can do is, we talked about data integrity last time, remember?
Right.
So I'm gonna do MD5 sum on my bin.exe. And also I'll do MD5 sum on the downloads where we download the actual file. And we see both files share the same hash. So that means the file we have downloaded and the file we extracted from Wireshark is exactly the same. But what if we have done this through an encrypted channel? Can we do that then?
The hash value might change if it is we done it through the encrypted channel.
No. The moment we start using encryption, I guess I have HTTPS built in.
Okay.
Let me just go to the HTTPS one. And I guess I did not configure HTTPS on this server. Okay. We can do that very quickly. But the moment we use HTTPS, there is no way I can retrieve these information.
Okay. Since it's a secure socket, it does not allow to capture any packet. I mean,
yes. So let's do on HTTPS. Yeah. So this one is the same website, right? But it's running on HTTPS right now. Let's continue without saving these files. And we're gonna do the same thing. We'll try to read the key.txt. We can read the file. We can also do bin.exe. We can also download this file. Now we go back to our Wireshark, stop it. Now we'll go to say file, export objects, HTTP, and I don't see any of those. So just because we are using encryption, Wireshark is not able to decrypt the packet and read the information. And the other reason, because I am using TLS, that's going to be very hard to decrypt. Right? So that's the thing. We can also look into DNS traffic to see which websites or which URL we are connecting through. Right. But so far, no luck with HTTPS ones.
Right.
Okay. So that's a downside when we use this kind of tools. Okay. But there are tools available that can set up a proxy in between, and we can read files on that way.
Even the HTTPS and TLS.
Yes.
Okay.
So a quick example we can use through Burp Suite. We will be revisiting Burp Suite later on.
Okay.
So this is this works as a web proxy between your browser and your web server. Okay. So let me start it real quick. This is a pre-installed one. There's a free alternative for this. It's called Avast Zap. That is not pre-installed, so we have to go through the installation process. We will do it when we do the web application part. Okay. So for this example, we can just start this web server, go to proxy tab, turn off intercept for now. We open up our browser. And then I have this Foxy proxy installed. You just search for Foxy proxy. And you will get this Foxy proxy standard. Okay. So Eric at Young have this one. It's pre-installed here. So all I did is I created a new, let me create a new one real quick. I click on this add button. We'll give it a name. We call them as a burp-proxy. We can set a color, right? And the proxy IP address is going to be, I guess I can show you how to set the fonts. Display font size 15. Okay, so now it's visible. So you can see this is showing up here, right? Proxy started on 127.0.0.1 8080. We can see the same exact thing is here in proxy tab. Go to options. We can see it started on this IP address. And we also see this one have certificate for per host, and a TLS protocol says to default. Okay, so pretty much everything is pre-configured for us. We don't have to do anything. So I'll just minimize this. We'll type the IP address. So that is 127.0.0.1. Port was 8080. There is no credentials, so let's leave it blank. Click on save. Then I'll switch to our proxy. And just to verify it is running, I'll just type burp here and put a /. And we should see this web page.
Okay.
And you can click on this CS certificate, save this file, and then go to settings or this extension thing, go to settings, go to privacy, scroll all the way down. Then you see this view certificate ones. Click on that, click on authorities will be selected by default. So if not, just select here, click on import, select your certificate, click on open. Oh, I already have it installed. Let me delete that. So we click on import, select the certificate, and we'll say, hey, trust this certificate authority to identify websites. And we can click on OK. OK. Now I can go to google.com. And we can see it's on HTTPS. But if I click on the certificate, and this says verified by port Swigger. By default, Google is verified by GTS or something like that. So we search for something like, what is my IP? I got my IP address here. All right. And let me just turn off the proxy. If you go back to my burp switch, we go to HTTP history. We see the history here. And also in target, we will be seeing google.com here. We open it up. We see advanced search, right? And we have this something here. And if you go into search tags, and we can see all the requests in plain text, right? So even the traffic was encrypted, because we are using the proxy, we can decrypt and see what user we're searching. And we can just see all those things here. Okay. So many company uses this kind of HTTPS proxies to decrypt and read through the traffics, right? Because most of the programs uses this kind of things. And we can say this was the search results. Okay. So we can see it here. We can see the response, and it'll show us the response of this page. So hopefully that is enough before we go for the break, and then start doing a little bit more into that. Okay. So meanwhile we are in break, you guys can go ahead and do the configurations, do these basic practicals. If you get any questions, please let me know. Okay. We'll come with the break, and then we do a little bit more into networking records, right?
Sure.
So we'll use internet-based web applications to see what information we can find using IP addresses. Okay, and then we move forward from there to the setting up our labs for next sessions. So let's have a tea break and we will be back on 11:45.
Sure, Animesh. Done.
All right. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on 11:40, 42. We'll start on
Sure,
45.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Today for some reason. All right. So we talked about IP addresses, right? One more thing that I did not talk about is the different types of, like we use private IP address and public IP address, right? So private IP address that we use it in local environment. So let's have it somewhere in our notes. Right, so what we use on local network. That's free to use. And we have limited IP ranges available to us. The second one we have called public IP address. Okay. We pay for lease and we got not unlimited, but we have pretty much all those things. We can access something called internet. And we have NAT. Okay, this is network address translation. One day I learned how to type correctly. So network address translations allow us to communicate between private and public IP address. Right. A very quick example I can showcase is just going back to my terminal. And we're going to do two things. First, ipconfig, and we'll do pipe symbol find str, and we'll just look for 192. We get multiple IP address. And also I'm going to do a quick curl command. We'll do curl http ifconfig.me, and it will go ahead and print my public IP address right here. Okay. This is just a website. If you just go and open up any browser and just do ifconfig.me, it'll go ahead and show us our public IP address. Same like what is my IP address.com, or just searching my IP on google.com. Okay, but those things we cannot curl on terminal. This one we can. So yeah, we can also mention /IP, and it'll just go ahead and do the same thing. And then you do like find str content, and it just shows you that. Okay. So many ways you can get those IP addresses. So private communications, we will be using one of these. For public communications, we will be using this one. Right. Now, where you can find more information about these IP addresses. So what we're going to do is going to use something called online search engines to read more about these things. So I'm going to talk about few websites, and I'm going to use Microsoft Edge. Why? I'll show you in a minute. So let's start with the first one. It's who.is. Right, we can type any IP address and get information on this way. And I click on, and click on this one first real quick. Cancel, remove. So I'll select this website, go to my collections, right? And start a new collection and call them as web. We'll do IP search. and just add current page. So this is one of them. Second, we can use search.census.io. So again, when I just click on this add button, IP search resource, add current page. Okay. Then we have shodan.io. And I am already logged in, I guess. Let me log out first. I don't see any way to log out. Where is the logout button? Yeah, here it is. All right, so let's go to shodan.io. That should open up this web page. Click here, add current page. And also we can use gray noise. And we can add this one as well. Okay, and we can also do DNS tools or domain tools, I guess. Amex toolbox one, so we'll just do domain tools. And we can just do Amex toolbox as well. This is my favorite one. So Amex toolbox helps you to look for multiple things. So I'm just gonna go and add this one as well. We don't need this website, domain tools. Where is there the source one? Let's leave this. This one is paid one, so you can ignore this one for now. Okay, so we got few websites. Now let's take an IP address and let's start searching on it. So let's click on this view resource. Right click. We'll do open all. So this is a shortcut to go through. Now I have a tab where I have all these webs pages in one terminal. We got a Whois, Census, Shodan, Gray Noise, and Amex Toolbox. Now, if you remember, when we ping google.com, we got an IP address. And I'm gonna do ping -4. So I'll take this IP address and start searching on Whois first. And we get the information. It's from Google, the CIDR value or classless inter-domain thing, routing. So /15 means it's having 15 on bits. So 8 plus 8, 16. So it's having more than, how many bits are there then? There's just 1 bit off. So then 15 bits on, so they're having all those other things as a network host. The net block having this AS block number, it's AS15169. So we can put it on our BGP router, say, hey, this is from Google, and any updates comes back, let us know. And we're gonna do a BGP thing here. So we'll do BGP, or play. And it's showing me domain website. I'm just gonna do and cheat here. We'll do achi.net. Okay. And here we can see pretty much all those things that we need to know. Okay. So we'll click on this BGP toolkit. And we can just type in the IP address here, hit on search, and it will tell me everything about that. So yeah, this is block number, right? It's verified and owned by Google. And announcement is done by 142.250.0.050. So if you want to look into more information, you can start searching on this phase. I'll show you pretty much all those things. It's also have WHOIS, DNS, and RBL built in. So all BGP routers or test will showcase its pass or failed. Okay. So next thing is census. What? Okay. So that's why I had this shortcut ready. So just click here and then just to open all. So go to census, paste the same IP address, hit enter. And it shows me the same information like software, details, what ports are open, and the certificates as well. Right. We can also look into showdown, paste the same IP address, hit enter. Taking a switch time, we can do it gray noise, do the same thing. We do like, yeah. So we can see the category set to software, last updated on 1st March. And we can see the references. And let's open google.com. And here we can see it's also resolving the host name, showing the informations, the city, where it's hosted, and all those things. Security contexts as well available here. And the certificates and all those things. And we can see all the alternative Google domain names that can be that can use the same certificate. So these things are there. Just 1 second, please. Okay, let's go to the last one, the Amex toolbox. We'll paste this record, hit enter, and it should go ahead and show us this drop down where we can select from multiple things. You know, WHOIS lookups, DNS checks, domain health, what is my IP, like text lookups, right? Block list checks. And we should have deleted this Amex from the first. Paste the IP address, change it to blacklist, check up real quick. Or we can just do a trace. It takes a few seconds to complete. And now we can see Amex Toolbox is using their internal servers to ping up this IP address and give us the information. It also shows us all the AS block numbers. So we can see since hop or block 15, we are pinging Google's internal servers till here. Okay. So same thing we can do with other tools. All right. So these websites help us to see IP address, but what about if you're looking for a domain name? Right. So it's just ugam.solutions, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Sometimes I just type a little bit wrong. I'm gonna just copy this domain name instead of HTTPS and after that one. So what information we can find about this domain on internet? So let's start with a basic Google search. So we'll go to google.com, not in Google, google.com. I'll do site. So this is simple hack of just showing up results from this website itself. Now, all the URLs or the search results will come continuously showing me that one. Now I say all of these things starts with www, and hey, don't show me anything start with www. Now I can see other things. So there's a UATDP. We got demo, we got apps, content, CS, SFT, right? And we have more than 6 pages to go through. And let's suppose I see this, which one we should hide, right? Real quick. Which one is repeating? Unite is repeating. So I'm just go and do -UNITE. So it won't show me that results, but show me anything else apart from that. So I can see this only 2 page where we have these things. Right. So this is the one way to figure out any subdomains that is searchable on internet. Now, other thing we can do is, if I just open up, do you have certificates on these websites? It's taking its full time to load up. I can see HTTPS on this one. So I hope that will be on HTTPS. All right. So I can just click on the certificate and look for the certificate information. And we can see it issued to star.omangsolutions.com. This is not a recommended way to issue a certificate, but also sees from Global Sign. So it could be a DV or domain verification certificate. Right, I have no idea so far. So let's start looking into these certificates. It's a OVSSL, but this is the CA number. We don't see that. So valid till 23 June 2020. Solutions, we can read this information. Right. Then we can see the authoritative information and certificate policies, subject type. All I can say is the certificate is issued to star. So that means any subdomain will have the certificate valid for it. Right. So I cannot fingerprint how many domains you have and how many domains have the certificate in it. That's a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back to other website. It's called crt.asset. So anytime when you generate a certificate on internet or any certificate authority generates certificate, the logs goes into a CT log file, that is certificate transparency log file. I can actually show you CT log Cloudflare. I was trying to write this article for a bit long time. I failed, so. Come on. So this is when this was released for the first time. Okay, so I can see all the logs, right? So this certificate expiring on 2017, 2018, 2023. Right? And I can see pretty much all the certificates available to us here. We can also put anything on monitoring and see how that works. You're having from DigiCert or Global Sign. We can look into their websites as well to figure out in more detailed way. But currently, I'm not interested in those things. So I'm going to do a percentage sign saying, hey, I would like to get the certificate information from every domain name from this website. I'll do a quick search. And it shows me all the subdomains that have certificate issued by any kind of certificate authority. Right. So I can get the marketing. That wasn't a part of your search results. If I'm not wrong, we don't see marketing there, right? VPN wasn't there. That is for sure. I can see it here. Right, then we got the marketing ones, then VPN ones. Then we got the webmail one, webmail. Right. Then we got the price track. And we can also see who is issuing this certificate and how long this is valid. For example, let's take this one. All right, this is from Global Sign One. This is what we're saying. We click on this ID, and it gave me more detailed information. Like OCSP is the CA or certificate authority is going to provide this. I'm going to do a quick check on this thing, and it runs good. That means this certificate is valid and it's working just fine. Then we got serial number. So you never revoked this certificate, so that's a good sign. And we can see the certificate informations right here. And this is the public information, so anyone can read or use this information. Okay. And you can take this SHA-SUM, and you can actually use that one to search for certificates. Okay. So that's a fun thing to play with. So if you just go to mine one, so just go to this. And you can see there's a ton of things that have the certificate issued to themselves. Right. And because these things are available on public, and these things is signed by public certificate authorities, so you can see all those certificates, who issued it, when issued it, and all those things. And most of the certificate I own either from Cloudflare or from Let's Encrypt. So I'm not paying for TLS to any companies. So that's the thing. So far we haven't touched anything, but we find this information. What if we would like to know more about that website? All right. Let's go to Ogum Solutions. And I'll say, hey, go to this website and show me any extensions ends with PDF. And I can see there's a 2 files. Any extensions end with doc file. We have nothing. docx, nothing. Any image files. So the common image file is PNG. Then we got JPG. Right, you get the idea. You can search for these things, and all the results will return from this website only. Okay. So that's the one way you can enumerate information without even opening up the website in your browser. I'm just looking for internet to find information about this website. Again, we have multiple websites listed for us. So I'm gonna go back and do the same thing over there. I did not add cert.assets, so we'll open this one up and add this website as well. So go back here, add current website, and then we can go who.is, the basic entry points. Right. And it will show me when this domain was registered, how long this is, and all those things. Right. Data high request is cannot be processed. That's bad. I'm going to do one more thing. I did not show this website. It's called DNS Dumpster. So I'll go to dnsdumpster.com and then paste the website. Before I do, again, I'll put it on the IP resources and I click on search. We'll give it a second to complete. So this will show us a very nice map about all the subdomains and applications, anything that is connected to your DNS. So mail servers, text records, and everything. Right, so I can see now results is done. So hosting IP address block owners, so where this is hosted and how many blocks owned by which companies, we can see it right here. And the locations or geo IP locations, it might not be 100% accurate, but it is there. We can see the DNS name servers, so NS2, NS4, NS1. What NS3 is missing. Then we see the mail exchange servers. We got some text records, right? We got the host records for each websites available there. And some of them also have this fingerprints that says, hey, this is IIS 10.0, right? And it's running on ASP.NET platform. This information should not be on public, but doesn't affect a lot. Okay, but that also tells hackers, hey, this is ASP.NET application, so try those methods, and we can just, use those techniques to innovate more. We see there's a Palo Alto. So it's a VPN. So again, Palo Alto VPN, if you go and look for any vulnerability or version numbers or exploits, we might find something workable. Right. And we see there is a SSH server, and that having a banner that says, what is your issue? I am not sure that is actual the banner or it just says that. Okay, and we can see this nice map here, how it started, and all those things. Right. So remember, still, I'm not opening up the website. I'm just looking on internet, finding information, what we have about that on internet. And I haven't logged in or paid a single penny to any of these websites, just searching it, right? So far, we found all the subdomains, certificates, who issued the certificates, and some things to go through, right? And looking at this text record, sometimes some text record might contain sensitive information. Not a good idea, but we have seen that kind of activities in past. Right. So for example, your emails are coming through Mimecast. I've seen somewhere that. So let's suppose I have no idea what Mimecast is. I'll search for Mimecast email. And it should open up this Mimecast page. Where's the Wikipedia? Oh, here it is. Bing is weird. So here we can read about all those things, like what is that? And also I can be like, hey, Mimecast email exploits. Do we have anything? Into the rope maker even exploit, Mimecast, nothing is there. Then we can look into Palo Alto VPN. We try to find something about that. We also have IIS, so do IIS 10.0 exploits. And it should load up into these things. So we can see multiple articles, some of the vulnerabilities back in 2014, so we really don't care. And we also see something on 10.0. So that we should be looking into. All right. So I'm just going to go open up the CV details page. Usually I just go to nist.gov. And we can just go and search for IIS 10.0. And it will show me all those things that will help us to go through. Right. Again, we can use ExploitDB. That's a part of GHDB or Google Hacking Database. And we just go to exploits. We go to ISI 10.0. It's processing a little bit longer, and we got nothing available. Or just do IS 10. Let's see if we can find anything. We get IIS 5.0, but nothing on 10. Right. We can also look into like IIS 10 bugs. and we'll get multiple websites to go through. So we do this URL rewrite bug, but that would be fixed very quickly. All right. And this is.net, where we download the website or the application itself. This one also having this secure. No, not this. They have they had a change log. It's not there anymore. Can we search here? No. Where's the change log? Okay. I can just go to Microsoft and find the change log about this particular thing. And each change log will have some sort of bug or vulnerability fix or some feature added on for security or privacies. We look for the version enumeration, see exactly what version is running, and try to fix it on that way. Okay. So this kind of scanning techniques known as passive scanning, where we are not attacking on a target directly, but we are using internet search engines to figure out what is running on. Right. Now, these basic websites gives you the initial entry points, like what you should do next. Right. Again, we are just using informations available on internet. Other thing that many people does is if you just go to archive.org, or we can just go to like, we get into this. So I'm gonna go to Wayback Machine and use this URL to see the older version or older web pages, if anything is listed here. And we can see it started from 2001. Again, before I jump into that, I'll look for the last domain registration when that happened. And then the date it's happened, I'll look for after that. So just go to a Kali Linux machine. Who is built in. So I just type who is this domain. And update creation date is 2001. So I hope this is where the website actually started. And we can look into the dates that have the bold in it. So this one have. So we see there is a one screenshot or snapshot, they call it. And we will be seeing the older version of this web page. Loading up for us right now. Yes. So we can go to the next web page or next results or snapshot. So it was running on programsolutions.in on port 80. There was some image that is broken. Just try to open it up. It does not exist. Okay. We can go to the next web page that is based on Shockwave. So Shockwave is not dead. So can we skip it here? Windows stopped supporting Shockwave, so I'm not sure if any one of these gonna work. Yeah, we get a weird web page. Right. So Wayback Machines helps attackers to see on any recent changes or any older changes. For example, if we go to 2022, we see there are some changes made recently, right? So attacker will go and look for all the changes to figure out what they changed. If that is a blog post, they can ignore it. If that is on the web application side, like you added a new feature or you deleted something or did something, they'll use that information to move forward. Like, okay, they are now moving into WordPress, they're moving into a different platform, and they can use that knowledge to some more damage. Same thing, you can just go to DNS history. Okay. And this will show you all the, like how many times you have changed your domains, postings, and pretty much all those things. And I copied the wrong thing. I copied that. Okay, so we can see it started on 2002, right? And start showing me all this information like that. So this kind of information still available on internet, and we can find it just using few websites. I'm gonna just add it on our collections as well. Okay, it takes few seconds to finish up, and once that is done, we will be seeing what results we found. That's still going on. Yeah. Now, so far, all the information we are finding is based on the web pages, right? Like what was the web page, where it was hosted, and all those things. Correct.
Correct.
Now, how that is useful for us. Like, as information security, why we need to know where is this website is hosted, like what that will add on. So if you received any recent phishing attacks or junk emails, they're trying to send into some different URLs, right? Mostly they recently purchased domain names, they send it over there, like something like .xyz or .free domains. We have seen some people are using NJRock or DuckDNS to host a phishing web page on a hacked or compromised servers, and they're getting logs from there. Okay. Just 1 second, please.
Sure.
Yes, yes. Actually, I have to switch the room. Okay, so it should be working everything like the old machines. Awesome. Please work. My internet is connected. Hi, I'm audible now.
Yes, Anush.
Okay, I guess my connection did not drop. That's amazing. All right. So we figure out some information just looking into some websites. So now how that is helpful, right? Like why we need to do this. The first thing is this URLs, we can figure it out on DNS queries, right? And also we have multiple blacklisted or services that provide you this blacklisted domain names, IP addresses, and informations. So one of them is famous, is abuse.ch or sh. Let's do abuse sh. .sh. Yeah, ch. I always get confused with this too. So this one allows you to download the word list or the domain list and use it on that way. Now in my home, I use Pi-hole. So just search for Pi-hole, blacklisted, blacklist words, and search for GitHub. And the reason being, I look for this one. They not only have all the malicious domain names, but also they have for different things. Like we can go for the ads, right? Other kind of list. So this just helps you to add your own word list or domain list that pretty much contains everything that you can think of on a website. And also look for, let's go to google.com. And janky. I'm gonna use Brave browser now. It's too much fish. So what I can do is, let's go to Google first. Google.com. Yes. So what we are going to do is figure out a proper way to get that database. As that's a text file, we can dump it and just upload it into firewalls or any EDR solutions. They'll parse the traffic, figure out if that matches to that, and block it. And one new technology that many Next-gen firewall start using it. And I forgot to mention that one. Let's open up an IP address and just do quad once real quick. Let's say Cloudflare's OpenDNS. And we look here, we should be seeing a value called jar. I don't see on this domain name. Let's take the Google ones and see. We have that. Yes, this one. So because most of the C2 servers we use, like Cobalt Strike, or even there's a few other ransomware developers who uses TLS to send encrypted packets or use an encrypted website, right? Or uses TLS. So this jar helps us to fingerprint a TLS certificate. Okay, so event traffic is encrypted and we don't have a proxy server to decrypt the traffic. We can still kind of figure it out what they are running, right? And using that understanding, we can either block, unblock, or put it on suspicious list. Okay. So we can do that, but before we jump into all those things, let's do one more thing. We're gonna set up our own local lab and we can play along with that machines. Okay. And let's set up our lab first, and then we can jump back to network analysis, because our website will be running on HTTP protocol by default. We will be having more fun to analyze our web application that we're running locally, and we can see all kind of traffics over there. So I'm going to use our Classroom VM or Ubuntu one. So I have attacker machine and target machine on the separate operating system. And they're much easier to visualize and work with. So once this machine is boots up, I guess the image I shared with you guys does not have LAMP stack pre-installed. So we'll verify this one first, and then we can continue. I hope you have this Ubuntu VM downloaded and imported to your virtual machine.
Yes, sir. Green, Sarona?
Yeah, bro, I confirmed it.
So just give it a second to boot up properly. Okay, it is. Now, just to verify, the image I shared with you guys does not have Apache pre-installed. So I'll do which Apache 2 doesn't exist. We'll do which MySQL does not exist, and do which PHP. Yeah, so this machine is clean. We don't have anything installed by default. Okay, so what we are going to do is we install these information first, and we play along with that. Okay, now if you not every single commands are available or copy pasted. So what I did is I have this one place so you can copy these commands. Notes start. I'll just copy this one once we get the web page. And again, if you're starting with Web Suite, that's there as well. Okay, so I'm gonna open up our OneNote. We'll go back to day 2, reference links, and this is going to be LAMP stack installation guide. Okay, so we can use the guide, or we cannot. The password and keys are closed. Oh, what happened? The horse closed. Don't send. We really don't care about that one. Okay. So first thing is, again, we're gonna make the update. Okay. So first thing we do sudo apt update. Make sure we have all the package managements or the labs are updated. Now next thing we'll do sudo apt install. You can actually do apt-get install. It basically downloads the file first and then install. Apt install is download it on temp, install it and delete the package. So we'll do Apache 2, APACHE2. Yep. So it's asking me the question. So what I can do is I'll just do -y to answer that questions beforehand. And it won't ask me that question again. I just go ahead and install this one for us. And it's done. Now, Ubuntu by default have UFW installed. So we'll do sudo service UFW status. Currently, we see it sets to active. Right. So I downloaded my Apache web server and we do like sudo service Apache 2 status. It's also active. So that means this is running. If you go to localhost, we get the web page. But what if we type the IP address? 216.143. Can we open it? Yeah, we can. And why that? Oh, it's already adding the rules for us. I did not read that line. So we can actually do like sudo UFW list UFW. Right. And if you want, we can just allow and see all this list here. We'll like sudo UFW info and then the profile. What profile they have been using here. Triggers for UFW. UFW app list. We got Apache, so we'll do UFW info Apache. Info profile. Not showing me. Invalid syntax. Oh, app info. I did not have app here. Yeah, it's showing me. It's 480. Right. I do not have anything configured here, so that's okay. If you want like port 443 as well, I can go and enable that one as well. Okay, so you can like sudo UFW allow, and then we do how you do the allow thing. Allow in rule files, and the rule files we had is called Apache something, right? Apache full. So let's copy that. Now, because there's a space, I'm gonna put it in single quotes. And we'll do sudo app info Apache full. And we see port 80 and port 443 both are allowed. Right. Now our web server is running. Let's install MySQL. So sudo apt install MySQL. Wait, let me admit SQL-server. I'll do -y. It won't ask me any other questions. I'll install it. It is 240 MB. It should be done now. Okay, so we are not going to secure it right now. Okay, I'll leave it as it is. MySQL is running on PID 6547. Looks everything Good. Users should do sudo MySQL secure setup, sudo MySQL secure installation. I'm not going to do that for now. Okay. Let's install PHP. So sudo apt install PHP. That is the first thing we need. Sudo apt install PHP. Then to lib Apache 2-mode for module PHP, and then PHP-MySQL. So we need PHP first, then we need a PHP module for Apache, and we need PHP module for MySQL. We'll do dash y, it won't ask me any questions, and install it on this way. And it should be recreating all the configuration file for us, so we don't have to do anything. And the PHP version we're using is 7.1.4. So it's a relatively new one. Okay. So now we'll do sudo service Apache 2 restart, because we just installed PHP and we have to install that. Now, if you want, we can do many other things, but that should be enough. Now we can go back to our web browser, refresh the web page. We still see this web page. Now, we talked about all this web page is hosted on var www.html. I'm going to remove this index.html, and it says, hey, you cannot remove that. If you do ls-l on HTML, it's owned by root. I don't like thing owned by root. I'll do sudo chown, we'll do capital R, go to recursive mode, and we'll do www-data. Let's use our user. We do $user and then $user on HTML. We do ls-l, that's now owned by me. Okay. So now I can go into HTML and I can delete this index.html without any problem. We can also write a simple index.php file to verify we indeed have PHP running. So I'll do PHP, we'll do echo, it works. And then we close the PHP tag. And I think I made a mistake. PHP requires a semicolon. Not sure, but we'll see. We refresh the web page and we see it works printed out right here. If you go to VPS source, it just shows it works, no PHP syntax. So that means our PHP installation is great, no problem, right? It just works as it's intended. Now we're gonna go ahead and make some changes. We go one directory up, and then I'm gonna download a vulnerable application. So the github.com/aniroy/VWA. I'm gonna copy this and also mention this thing in our OneNote. This is going to our vulnerable app GitHub, and I missed this. So we'll do git. Do we recording? Yeah, we are recording.
Yes, yes.
So we'll do git clone, paste this, and we get permission denied because we just own that directory. So I'm kind of lazy to do that on the sudo chown one more time, or I can just do Control R and it go for reverse search and just type chown and print out that command for us. And I'll just do, hey, go var www on this directory. So if I do the git clone command, it works. So now I have a VWA on a different directory, right? If I go back to my web browser, go to localhost, I cannot access that. I could have put into that directory itself, but that won't be no fun, right? We are here to learn. So how we can add that custom directory here? So again, remember we talked about configuration files on etc location. So we just installed Apache. So we'll go into cd/etc Apache 2. And we have few files here. We got Apache 2 configurations, conf enabled, conf available, modes available, modes enabled, sites available, and sites enabled. So when we see this available file where we put our configurations, when we enable the configurations, it goes to enabled location. Currently, I'm going to just go and modify that file in enabled location. Not recommended, but we should know everything, right? If we mess up something, we'll get to know. That's not a good idea to do. We have to use sudo because these files are owned by root. So yeah. So I'm just going to do on the proper way, site available way. And we'll do vim. Again, do use sudo vim default. Oh, sorry, we're going to use 000 default.conf. And the location for these things is not where www.html. This is where www VWA. That is the thing, right? Yeah. And we're going to save this file. So hit escape, :wq. We'll do sudo service Apache 2, restart. I haven't enabled that file. Let's see if that works. And it worked. We get this message is database not configured properly. Now we are talking. So we have to go back to the application itself. So cd where www VWA and open this. Do we have Sublime installed? Yep, we do. Enter your license key below. You can purchase one. I don't want to purchase one. Let's open this file. So we have few files here. We got a test code. We have dbconf. So of course, we're going to edit this file. Right. So I'm just going to go ahead before I make any of the changes. I'm going to go open my web browser, dbconf.php, and we get this message. So I'm going to refresh this page when we configured our database properly. Now, if you remember, I said I am not going to configure my MySQL. Now it's time. Sudo mysql -u root. We directly jump into the database. If I do that sudo mysql secure installation, we have to configure all those things and delete the passwords and all. Okay. So because I did not follow that step, that's why I just logged in as root without a password and all. Not a good way to do that, but yeah. And I can actually show you there's no password for this account, root account. Right. So I can do like select user. Select user. I can. I don't know the password one, so we'll do select star from mysql.user. And I'll read the first line real quick. User select pre, insert pre. Where is the password one? Password lost change, password expire, account logged. Wait, let's start reading here. Trigger create SSL, ensure max request, max implements, authentication string. So we'll do select user and authentication string from mysql.user. Now we can see root does not have any password. So, and we can see all those other things have this. This is a combination of invalid password. All right. So first thing is we have to create our database. I'm going to open up a new terminal. Zoom back in. We'll cat db.sql file. And this is what we're going to execute. I guess this is more than enough to read. So first thing is the set SQL mode. Not going to do that. Create a user with a password. So I'm going to use this one. Create user db admin. I'm going to copy this, paste it. And if you do select command, we should see db admin now exists with an encrypted password. So password is still db admin at 123. Not very secure, but we have that. Create a database. So I'm going to copy this command, paste it. It failed. So I'll just show databases. We don't have users. So I'm just to create database users. If we do show databases one more time, we will be seeing users exist. We'll do use users. So now we change into our database that is users. If I do show tables, I don't have anything because we just created that. And we can actually add that permissions to this. So grant all privileges on user star to that. We do have to modify the command because the database we created called users. And we have to use semicolon. We still have empty thing. Let's add some informations. Top table if exists, create this much. A long blob. And now we do show tables. We should see that there's a user login tables. So we'll just select star, or we can do describe actually. User login. And we can see we got ID, username, and password. So we're going to add a few ID and passwords real quick. I did something wrong. We have to copy this one more time. So now we can do select star from user login. And we can see we have two accounts. Right? You can create multiple accounts and push it on this way. Okay. So now we have user accounts. We'll do mysql-u. The username we have created is dbadmin, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. dbadmin. And the password is dbadmin at 123. dbadmin-p. Enter the password. We'll do show databases. And we got users. So we'll do select star from users. Oh, sorry. Select star from user login, where database is equal to users. Use users. And we can do select star from user login. And yeah, we can see that. So we have to configure our dbconf.php. So this line going to be, I'm going to do x dw, delete everything, or delete word. It's this dbadmin. And we can just do dw. And this is going to be dbadmin at 123. and the database name is users. And if we've done everything correctly, this page returns database configured properly or nothing. What? Cat db conf.php. Else is commented out, so it's not printing out anything. But I hope we have configured it properly. So if you go back to the main page, and now we can see we get a login page and password. All right. So this configuration is a little bit janky, but it works. Now we have a lab where I know the admin username, but I don't know the password. Right? If you do ls, you will see we do have a search.php. All right. So we just go to the web page and do a quick SEERC search.php. And we get this message, hey, you are not authorized. But I still get the page. Even though we are not authorized, we can see this page. I can just do like 1, it says username is admin, ID 2, we got no user ID, we got 99, we get this results, and we can see it's actually changing here. We can put a single quote, we get an error message. So this error message, hey, MySQL item rows expects parameter 1 to be MySQL results, Boolean things given into line 88, errors out. I'm going to, hey, ID is equal to 1 or 1 is equal to 1. We get the results. I will just do, hey, ID is equal to anything or 1 is equal to 1. Let's do on this way. Can we do it? And we can see we can print out both the usernames. If we have multiples, it'll print out multiple usernames right in the terminal. And we can validate that by just going back to our MySQL thing. What was the password? db admin at 123 use users. Right, and we can just take that command. Okay, so let's suppose we're going to add a value user ID 2, username. We'll just add as a classroom. It should be in quotes. And then we're going to add a password. So I'm going to just do a quick password is this way. So we'll do echo -n admin and pass it through MD5 sum. We get this hash. And that will be my password. What? Show tables. Insert into user login to classroom. That. Where I errored out. Insert into user login value. That. And then close it. Okay. So if it refers to that page, we should be seeing 3. Right. So we have some sort of SQL injection here. Now, before we jump in and start doing all kind of configurations, let's make sure you have the same thing running on your machine. So can you guys do it by yourself? If you need any of my help, just let me know. And then we can move forward.
Okay.
So configuration is pretty much straightforward. All the commands are available. If you just go to the web page itself, the VWA one, just go to README. This one says set up the LAMP stack, And the configurations, you can just copy paste command from right here. Okay. So you don't have to do any changes. The last one, you just copy paste this line. Okay. So give it a try. It's 12:56, around 1. Before lunch, let's finish this one. So after that, we can start resuming our network analysis part real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm in mute. You can share your screen if you have any issues. And I'm here. So if you're doing it, you can share your screens so we can walk you through or look into that. If you guys are doing anything, just let me know. I'm pausing the recording here. So,
Sure, Animesh.
okay, over here. All right. So we talked about networking, right? A lot. So let's go ahead and see that how that's gonna work. Now, currently we have 2 virtual machines. One where we have our tool web application running, right? 216.143. And I can access it on our attacker machine as well because both are running on the same network. And okay, we get it here. And we should be able to access this website without a problem. Yes, we can. We don't have any credentials. Let's try that classroom. And then we had a password called admin. And we logged in, right? And now if we click on this find users button, and we can now search for users, right? The user ID was 2, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. But we see this option here, right? And whatever the communication we have done so far, it is on unencrypted channel. So if you just go back a few more time, click on logout. Now when I start our Wireshark in background to capture these packets, so we can go through and see what is there. We will be starting on ETH0. And I just hate this way. It looks like, so I'm going to edit preferences, go to layout. I'll select the second layout option. The pan 1 will show us the packet details or packet list. Pan 2, that is bottom left, will show us the packet details. And the pan 3 will show us the packet diagram. And this is based on TCP IP model. So we can see it here, and it looks a little bit much better. Okay. I can filter out a lot of traffics. We will be doing that in a bit. I'm going to open up our web browser, refresh the web page. First, we'll send the credentials that we are using right now. That's classroom and admin. Is there a way to do never see? Yeah, we can. So we get this flag here, and if we go to find users, 1, we can see that. We can do 99. We get that. So from last practicals, we do know if we search for HTTP, we can see all those traffics in plain text. We can also do right click, follow TCP string. And okay.